Today is Sunday, February 19th, 2012. I was in a waiting room this morning, and lately in the mornings I just feel sad. I feel sad because I feel my wife's not here, and I feel lonely and I miss her. And it's strange because you think like people would feel lonely or sad at night, but I never feel that way at night. It's always in the morning after I wake up. For some reason, that's the way it is for me. And I was in this waiting room, and I was thinking about this one day in August, last August, when I went to Ghana. On my way to Ghana, I stopped over in Bangkok, Thailand, and I had about a 24-hour layover. And my wife just happened to be in Bangkok. She's not from Bangkok. She lives in a town that's like 5 hours away from Bangkok. But she just happened to be in Bangkok that day. And once I arrived in Bangkok, I gave her a call, and she just happened to be in Bangkok. So we decided to meet up, and it was unplanned. And I met her and her sister. And what I had to do is I had to go from Bangkok all the way to a town called Nawanakorn, which is like an hour from Bangkok. I had to go through all this traffic and hustle and bustle of the city, and I finally got there around 2 in the afternoon. I hadn't slept in like 36 hours. I was totally exhausted, and I had a nice my wife and her sister had prepared a nice dinner for us, and we ate dinner. And after dinner, we were watching TV, and we were at my wife's sister's apartment, and her sister has a big queen-size bed. And I said, look, can I take a nap before I have to go back to the airport and catch my flight to Ghana? Because I'm just exhausted, I haven't slept. And she said, yeah, go ahead. So I got up on her bed, and I was like just laying there, drifting off. And my wife came up on the bed, and she laid next to me and curled up next to me and hugged me, and she just started crying, and the tears were coming out of her eyes, and she just squeezed me. And that feeling is like nothing I can explain with words. It was just like you can imagine the person that you love so much. Imagine that they died, and somehow, like in a dream, you were able to go to heaven and physically be there with them again and hug them and hold them. That's what it felt like. And I was in this waiting room thinking of that day, that moment, and I started to well up, and my whole thing about missing my wife and the loneliness I feel just was coming to a climax. And I was just about to walk out of the room and excuse myself because I was just going to lose it. And this guy walks in. This guy that I know, he helps me with my Japanese. He helps me study the Kansai dialect. And I have a lot of acquaintances in Japan, and I don't know this guy very well. I have a lot of acquaintances in Japan, but there's very few people I can really call a friend. Like, it's less than the number of fingers I have on my hand. I mean, it's really a very few amount of people. And guys, I mean, I have a lot of, guy acquaintances, and in the 12 years that I've been here in Japan, I've kind of had some guy friends, but it was, I don't know, it wasn't like, there was no real connection. Here in Japan, it's always just, where are you from? How long have you been here? Do you like Japanese food? Wow, your Japanese is good. It's always, that's how the conversation always starts. Always. And you cannot build a genuine friendship when a conversation starts like that. But this guy, when I first met him, he just talked to me like a normal person. He didn't ask me where I was from. He didn't ask me how long I've lived in Japan, if I like Japanese food, what do I do in Japan. All the questions that everybody always asks me, he didn't ask me those questions. He didn't even try to speak English to me. He can't speak English as far as I know. And he didn't speak polite Japanese to me. He just talked to me like two buddies would talk to each other. And in my experience here, 12 years in Japan, I can only think of two guys who have ever talked to me like that. So right off the bat I liked him. But I don't get to meet him much. So he comes in and I'm just about to lose it, I'm just welling up and just feeling horrible. And he comes in and I just kind of like got shooken out of that state of mind and kind of put on a fake smile, how are you doing, like that. And then we started to talk about this email that he had sent me. I was asking him a question about the Kansai dialect in Japanese, and he started to explain it to me, and he was kind of really animated. And the more we talked, just the way he was talking was so interesting and funny. And in like 10 minutes, I was just laughing and just having a good time. And I was just like, I had totally transformed from this just depressed, gloomy, dark place to being happy and enjoying myself and enjoying his company. And it was just amazing. It was like at that exact moment when everything was dark and gloomy and I had just hit the lowest point, this person walked in like an angel and changed everything.